What's going on, everyone? Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Hopefully everyone is doing great on this Monday. You know what it is. Everything is cool besides the coronavirus. It's a part of Atlanta school system down here that's shut down because of the coronavirus, which isn't cool at all, man. This stuff is just like, of all places, why is it coming down here? You know, you had 2 people return from Italy, and it's like they can't find a way that I don't know, all this technology we have, man, with the coronavirus, and then we have people returning from Italy, to the damn state, and they're infected. They opened up a hospital on the base that I basically went up there to the commissary and stuff before. Now it's a freaking triage for the infected victims that's coming down here. Like they had a cruise ship or something. They quarantine people over there, man, until they clear over there. I think they said they had like 150 beds. That's wild. It's absolutely wild. Hold up, let me see why this ain't working. If you're tuning in, hit the thumbs up button for me. I appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up button. I'm trying to get my other stream up. There we go. There we is. Just hit that thumbs up button when you come in the building. World Combat Sports on deck. M. Greg, what's good? What's good? Yeah, man. Danetta McCray, how you feel? Thanks for dropping in, everybody. Yeah, M. Greg, them cruise ships, man. Me and the little man, we will not be going on any cruises anytime soon until they get this cleared up, all the way up. I ain't talking about freaking pine sol either. I'm talking about all the way clear. So if you haven't heard, jump right into it. All the messages I get in my inbox. Tyson Fury sample. Hey, appreciate that, Danetta. Supposedly, right? It's official though, but don't take it any more than what I'm telling you. Like, Vada is came back with Tyson Fury's test sample being clean, right? And I'm gonna be honest. It is what it is. They have a big fight coming up for a trilogy. This is not the first time where a test sample has came back clean when the fighter potentially may have been dirty. I know my sources were thorough. So if they want to come back and say it's clean, it is what it is. But I did not ever say that he had tested. Allegedly, that's what my sources told me. Allegedly, he had a sample to come back dirty. So it's not something that, I'm going to sit here and pal about because I put the information out there. That's what media does. But what I'm trying to help you understand for those who may feel some type of way is that with media, you're going to have source drops like this. You're going to have sensitivity that goes along with it because a lot of people just don't want you to report on it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just don't want you to report because it's dealing with Fury versus Wilder. They just want to say, okay, leave it alone, let it go, blase, blase. I don't know why the energy is like that, but it is. If the man had any type of suspicion of being dirty, why not investigate it? Why not report on it? You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's personally coming out your pocket. You're not paying for the test. It's just media. You know what I'm saying? It's just reporting. The man had a history of cheating, and the word came out allegedly that was the case. But the WBC is returning a sample and saying that everything is clear. So my next question is, with all the footage just going around, are they going to do anything about the gloves or whatever? Believe me, I'm not losing any sleep over it. I'm just asking because it's a lot of information. It's a lot of slides out here. It's a lot of media. I just want to know is it's gonna be any shape or form, anybody to just take a peek and just, zoom in just a little bit with their due diligence and see if there's any merit to it, any validity to Tyson Fury and what's out there on social media. I know they've looked at it. I know they've seen everything. But guess what? When it comes down to that trilogy that potentially may happen in the middle of the year, it's a lot of money. And we know boxing is a business first, right? Greg says stay out of the buffets also. Man, whew. I know a lot of people right now, Golden Corral, you're talking about staying out of the buffet. I know a lot of people going to hate that. Shit, Golden Corral right down the street. They're going to be like, nah, I go to Golden Corral twice a week. McCray said, hey, you did right. Thank you for reporting the sports news. Thank you, Donetta. Real talk. Salute. That's what you should do. Yeah, I got to report it, man, because that's the source of information I receive. I'm not digressing from it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I get on here, like some people just, report clickbait all the time. So, some people try to go at me. I mean, it's if you ask for the gas, be willing to walk through the fire. You know what I'm saying? So all I did was report from my source, and it moves on. We move forward. We keep marching. I don't want to wish anything bad on Tyson Fury, but when it comes to the sport of boxing, in one sense, right? Don't say that, oh, we doing it for the health of the fighter. We want to make sure they're safe. We want to make sure everybody's in good standing. And then when it comes to a situation like this, they say, oh, Deontay, he got a big mouth. He always talk. I mean, come on, man. Call it for what it is. It's the same that goes to Antonio Margarita and Miguel Cotto. I didn't hear people sitting up here advocating for Miguel Cotto when they was calling him, all sorts of names and defaming him for taking a knee. And he was trying to explain to them to test the gloves, because Miguel Cotto, being as tough as he is, he kind of felt some type of way like, man, something ain't right. This dude, his punches feel just a little bit more punishing than I would expect. As long as I've been in the sport, something ain't right. And you'll come to find out, Naseem Richardson caught Antonio Margarita's corner, not the commission. I mean, Naseem Richardson, Sugar Shane Mosley, trained at the time, recognized it, and they confiscated the wraps, had him rewrap his hands, and then after his ass whooping from Sugar Shane, he went on suspension. Brad Six was good. Brad Six, what's going on with Fury's chest? Nothing going on with it. The WBC, Vada came back and said there was nothing wrong with it. But, look, there's only so much I can do explaining to certain people how deep the levels are with boxing. If certain things need to come back a specific way, it's going to come back. If not, you know what I'm saying? Boxing in certain levels, they can have manipulation. They can have whatever they choose to. The powers that be can do what they want to do. We've seen it with Dillian White. Man, we done seen it, period. We've seen it. Money talks to make everything else walk. And I'm not saying this in this case. I'm just saying if you've been around boxing long enough, don't come in here acting like we're dealing with a freaking a ministry, a missionary ministry where everybody's going in here to get ordained to be ordained minister, and we all carrying Bibles around. No, just realize that boxing is a business, and certain things are for the benefit of the sport. And one thing that's the benefit of the sport is the money. And there's a lot of money that's going to be made in the trilogy, just like it was made in freaking the rematch. That's real talk, y'all. I'm not trying to sit up here and convince you of it. That's real. Boxing is a business first. There's a lot of people that got paid on the 22nd. A lot of people, made some money off Fury winning. A lot of them, some of them hit me up on, of course, on the DM and, say, yeah, I was right. Fury won. Okay. Fury won. I mean, it's just a prediction. You know what I'm saying? Brad saying I'm boxing like level 3 out of 10. I don't think I can say, man, I'm not a coach or anything. Just keep on working, bro. That's all I can say. I can't sit up here and tell you what to do in the sport. I just cover the sport, train in the sport a little bit, been in the ring earlier in my service, what I'm saying? Just a little bit. It was fun. Just to feel what it's like to get hit. Of course, we was facing the Army. And just had my experience. But back to Fury, I truly want them to step up and test the gloves, man. But I don't think it's going to happen because of the money and the revenue that's pending for this rematch again. This trilogy. I think it's a lot that's out there, man, that they don't want to mess up. Because now you get to a point of Deontay Wilder enacting his rematch clause, and then you have Anthony Joshua that's out there too. So either way it goes, we're going to either see Wilder reclaim his belt or Tyson retain his title and fight. Either way it goes, we need to see how it's going to play out come July. If that date holds up, we need to see how it's going to play out. That's what we want to see. You know what I'm saying? So I know damn well they're trying to make that $100 million+ fight with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Seriously. I know they would definitely like that to happen. Brad, I'm not a coach, big dog. There's no way I'm going to give you any type of, it's plenty. If you go on YouTube, it's plenty of people that actually coach the sport. Just hit them up on Facebook, man. Drop them in a message. There's nothing I can tell you. I'll be a fool to sit up here and play you like that and give remote advice to somebody that I don't even know how long you've been training. I don't know what condition you in, your body type. I don't know how many, if you ever been in the ring, the rounds. No. I'd be doing you a disservice and myself because I'm just wasting time. But we hope we get that straightened out, man. What else is good? Now, I want to give a shout out to Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr., man, a boxer out of ATL, man. He's 16 victories, 0 defeats, and 14 knockouts. He's fighting on Showtime this weekend, man, on the 13th. Be sure to tune in and check him out, man. He's a thorough boxer. For me, he's one of the best out of the ATL. And it's only a matter of time before he get recognized. Very solid, dedicated boxer. To his craft, in the gym working. And he's going to be making a big step, man, on the televised card on Showtime, I believe on the 13th. So shout out to Brian Norman, his father, his coach and trainer. And they're going to be stepping out. They probably already left. Well, they'll probably be leaving out Wednesday. But yeah, tune in for him, man. He out of ATL. One of the rising stars up out this stronghold down here when they come to boxing. Next, Shakur Stevenson, man. Hey, when I heard Shakur Stevenson stepping in the ring, I wanted to be out there for real. I put the fight card in the details of the live. And, Shakur Stevenson, man, WBO champion right now. He's the real deal, man. Shakur Stevenson is going to make some moves. I hope he make them soon. I'm not sure if he want to unify where he at right now, but I really hope that if he doesn't unify, he move up and try to go to the next division. Because basically it's waiting for him. It's a lot of competition out there. So he's going to be facing Miguel Marriaga. If you don't know who Miguel Marriaga is, he's the guy who everybody probably remember him from facing Vasily Lomachenko. But I remember him from facing Nicholas Water. You know what I'm saying? And he's 29-3. I believe like 25 knockouts, right? And he's on a 4-fight knockout streak, man. And he's doing damn good. Like, you look at the dude like, okay, he had back-to-back losses, Oscar Valdez and Vasily Lomachenko. You look at him, you're like, this is going to be solid. Shakur Stevenson coming out, fighting for the vacant title against Joet Gonzalez. And then he steps in here with a guy who has 29 victories and 3 losses, and he's on a 4-fight knockout streak. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. One thing I can say about Shakur Stevenson, man, he isn't playing around. He's taking the sport extremely serious. I respect everything about how he's going about boxing. You know, his little dust up in the street, he got past that. He's been under the radar ever since. And you know what? I'm liking what I see when it comes to him and the sport. I mean, he has unlimited potential in the sport. Unlimited freaking potential. And I'm definitely, if I can attend every Shakur Stevenson fight, you know, that'll be that, because it's always entertaining. I know he's about the business, going in there and proving that he's one of the best in boxing. You know, people are not going to talk too much about his silver, his Olympian, being an Olympian silver champion. But I believe in boxing, he already has superseded that. He has 13 victories already, 7 defeats. But the good thing I like about Shakur, he can box. He's confident in his skill set. He's out here trying to get better. You know what I'm saying? So only with 13 victories, 0 defeats, man, he's on his way to doing big things. DBMA, what's good, man? Salute everybody that's in the live chat. Salute to you. Thanks for dropping in on this Monday. So we got Errol Spence on Glovegate. Yeah, Cunningham. Steve went off early today on the matter. We got the WBC saying that the tests are good. Yeah, that video with Steve Cunningham, man, I skimmed through it. I was busy checking out some other stuff. I did skim through it. And you know what? I might put it up. I think I have it up on the browser already. But look, this is what I like. This is what I like. It's glad that other people are coming out, right? And speaking about not just other people off the street, like we in New York, and they want to pull that, do you know so-and-so? Do you want to know so-and-so? We got other fighters that's coming out and saying, you know, this particular situation is strange to us. We never seen no shit like this. As long as we've been boxing, we ain't been flicking no gloves. And then come to think about it, you know how I was talking about how the people that's coming to the defense, black people, right? My people, coming to the defense of Tyson Fury so much, right? So check this out. We have more people defending Tyson Fury in the process of just saying, you know, get on with it, or whatever the case. But then when other boxers come out, they're not black, right? You have black and white boxers coming out talking about this situation. You know what I'm getting? Haters. People are calling these individuals haters, and these are the same people that you're supposed to call yourself a fan of. Like, you're saying they're hating. What good is it going to do these boxers to come out and speak about a type of material, a type of equipment that they use all the time, and they're trying to explain to the public, whoever want to listen, they're trying to explain to you all, this isn't natural. No matter if you flick your jab out there or not, your gloves shouldn't be bending back like that. Your hand wrap shouldn't be showing. You know what I'm saying? People not looking at the fact that we didn't see Tyson Fury get his hands wrapped. People just want to ignore the pictures that's out there. And it's up to me and everybody else to choose to talk about it, to send the message. If in one sentence you want to sit up here and mourn the death of Maxim Dedashev, Patrick Day, Adonis Stevenson when he was in a coma, Jerry McLean, who's never been the same since his fight, all these people that's been through wars and been suffering, all the boxers that's out here with pugilistic from taking too much punishment. Now you want to act like it's not a big deal? It's not a big deal to sit up here and hear people that actually fought in the sport talk about something ain't right with Fury's glove. And then just as I was telling people about Floyd Mayweather, right? I said, Floyd Mayweather, why would Deontay Wilder go to Floyd Mayweather? Because if you never had a rapport, you know, you've never been cordial with one another, don't you supposed to have that sense of calmness when you're walking into the training camp? What happens? Just recently, I see a video coming out of the camp where you have people in there saying that there's no way that he can throw the jab like that. It's impossible. Now, we ain't talking about world champions. We're talking about people that's training in the gym. We ain't talking about people who's experienced that we just look at like, okay, we didn't even see Floyd make a video about these gloves. But you have all these people, when you tell them, I don't think that'll be a good fit. Well, Floyd, his record is this. It's still boxers in their own right. They love to be around people and have a sense of, assurance that they can go in there and get the right work. The people going to be looking out for them. That's all. We got what's good, people. Hey, thanks for dropping in, DBMA. I'm going to try to look up something right quick. I seen it earlier, but let me try to look up that particular video of Steve Cunningham saying what he said. But back to Shakur Stevenson, man. I want to give a shout out to Shakur Stevenson, man, Newark, New Jersey. And, he's doing a big thing, the WBO featherweight champion, man. Salute to him. To go in there and get that victory against Miguel Marriaga. I know you can get it done. Even though he's on a 4-fight win streak, Shakur Stevenson is a very solid star in the sport of boxing. I like how he's been out of the spotlight. He hasn't been saying too much. That means he's probably been in there cooking. He's been in there getting that work in the gym, and he's getting ready to go in here and perform. I hope it just stays like that, and he really stays on the grind. Shout out to Shakur Jr. in Chicago, too. He has a fight coming up in April against Jason Maloney. Same thing. He's real good friends with Shakur Stevenson. Both of them have been on social media quite a bit. Like, you don't see them on social media. I'm going to try to pull up this video that I looked at earlier. If I can't find it, I'm going to let it ride. But DBMA say, yeah, finally we actually have boxers chiming in. It's a serious matter. People need to try and understand what's actually being said. Man, you ain't never lied. Absolutely. I totally agree with what you're talking about, man. This is the whole point of talking to grown-ass adults, right? Sometimes logic isn't as easy as we perceive it to be, especially when we're trying to have a dialogue, a logical dialogue, because it just goes out the window. But check this out. If the boxers who stepping in the ring, taking the punishment, is basically saying, this is kind of weird to me, strange, it's an eccentric type of motion and rhythm that I'm seeing, then why wouldn't you respect the fact that they are talking about it? Only because it's Tyson Fury, and so many people, for whatever reason, want to see Tyson Fury as in the pantheon of boxing already. They believe this dude, when he was baptized in the 12th round against Wilder, they truly believe, man, he can do no wrong. Because the first thing they want to say is, Wilder's a fraud, he's this, that, and the other. You can say what you want about another grown man. That's up to you. You can say behind this screen what you choose to say. But I'm talking strictly boxing. And the only thing we're trying to find out on how he defeated the champ, was it all the way by the books? Because it's just not like we're making this up. We didn't walk up in there and start falsely accusing Tyson Fury of cheating. He cheated with Vladimir, and he's cheated in the past. He got caught with Christian Hammer. There's serious amount of video footage out there with the way his left hand is looking, even when he was laid out in the first fight with Deontay Wilder. Who comes in there and their wrist wraps are showing? You don't see fighters in there with their wrist wraps showing. You don't. You just don't see that. Let me still try to find this video. But Miguel Marriaga, man, you know, he has experience. He's 29 victories, man, only 3 losses, 25 knockouts, and I'm telling you, this is gonna be a nice fight. This is gonna be a nice fight. I think it's gonna be real nice, man. I can't seem to find this video right now. I was gonna do a screen share and talk about it. And you know, another thing I wanted to make mention of about the WBC, right, is that what is going on with the returning of the belts to franchise Cruz de Zern? It's already been said that Jimenez pop positive. Alejandro Jimenez pop positive. Why isn't the WBC in a haste and talk about, you know, hey, she popped positive, she was dirty, return the belts to the rightful owner? What's going on with that? Nobody's talking about it. Once more, you have inconsistency from casual fans to the purists and mainstreamers, right? No one's talking about this particular fighter that looks like something's seriously going on with her, and she sounds like it. So therefore, if the tests already came back positive, why haven't they returned the WBO belts? This is the part of boxing that we don't like. Even as a fan and media, you know, we don't like this. It gives us a little bit more to talk about, but come on, man, in comparison, let's do apple to apples, man. Like it's, you know, one looked like the other. We knew that something was going on with her. We just needed proof. And you know, her test came back dirty. Why hasn't anything came out on her being suspended, punished, the belts returned? That shit has been hush hush. I know I better not see her ass back in the ring anytime soon. Else I'm gonna be like, man, something's crazy, you know? Like, what are they trying to do? They trying to have certain individuals take over certain divisions to make bigger fights. Like, check this out. I know they was in a hurry to try to make Jimenez versus Shields. I know that. They would love to see Alejandro Jimenez go in there against Clarissa Shields. Because they say, oh, she can walk through the punches with Franchon like that. Oh, man, imagine what she can do with Clarissa Shields, who only has 2 knockouts. Oh, it's going to be a great fight. Let's do it. But no, that test came back dirty. And wasn't in the South either. DBMA said Dewey from Mayweather's camp also made some statements on the matter, cleaning up the first response about the glove situation. I'm trying to look and see, can I find this vid, man? I seen it earlier. I'm trying to find out. I'm gonna try to put in another. I'm gonna try to reword the source drop to try to find it. I appreciate all the comments, everybody that's in the chat and tuning in to World Combat Sports. You know what it is. It's always love. Thanks for the support. Come on now, where you at? Where you at, man? I just freaking seen you, man. Come on. Well, anyway, that's where I'm at. Like the WBC, I know they're the grand poop of the sanctioning bodies. We understand how they get down. We understand how the maneuvering goes and the decision-making process. The ones who follow boxing understands that. The green belt is everything. It's the best looking belt of the sanctioned body, but yet it sits on top of the hierarchy. Like I'll tell everybody, there's a ranking system. You have the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF and the WBO. And then out there, like that play cousin that you got is the IBO title. You know, it's out there like the play cousin. You know, the stepsister brother. That's what the IBO is. But we all know the WBC, the green belt, that's the grand poobah, make all the decisions or whatever. Right now, we just want to know, since the test came back, Is there going to be any further information that we can look into about potentially Tyson Fury gloves? That's all. That's all we want to do. That's all we want to do, for real. I'm just being honest, because we got too many hypocrites out here that just want to criticize the champ because him talking like we ain't never had another champion talk shit, right? You want to sit up here and criticize the champ for being from Alabama, crying and whining like you never heard anybody freaking talk crap before. And then you want to act like his life ain't worth it. A man who started boxing because of his daughter. Yeah, I know it's plenty of lives out here, man, talking about the same. But guess what? You keep on talking about it, it'll be out here and people start tuning in and listening. But when I got people on these social media platforms that's just saying, deal with it. What are you talking about, deal with it? What the hell are you talking about, deal with it? When y'all probably the same ones on here when Patrick Day died, right? Y'all was talking about, oh, we need to do better in the sport. We need to protect the fighters. When freaking Buddy McGirt was pleading with Maxim Dadashev, Max, I'm gonna stop the fight, Max. Max, something out of a Rocky movie. He's pleading with that guy while he's still coherently alive. He's pleading with him. What I see, you taking too much punishment. I'm gonna stop the fight. And it still wasn't enough. The guy never returned out there in the ring again and still died. He was over here trying to make a living for his family. And the man passed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. Y'all can't sit up here and act like, you know, any boxer's life is expendable. But more so, you know, Deontay Wilder's in this particular case, because you want to say he talks too much or you don't like the way he goes about represent himself as a champ. So in that case, I'm like, if you have a problem with the way he represents himself as a champ, then we can turn that page and read a chapter on Tyson Fury's history too. It's all the content is there for you. All the content is there. He is absolutely guilty of being a cheater. No ifs, ands, buts about it. We're not creating this. It's out there. He did it himself. So when I hear him sit on the couch and say, well, I left the sport due to mental illness, hey, y'all give me that pass. Please. If you would have gave Deontay Wilder that pass and I didn't, you know, we expect no criticism, then cool. But I don't think he would have got the same pass, because the way people looked at him when he said the bronze bomber won a body, look, you had people calling the freaking feds. Did you hear him? He was on the Breakfast Club. Did you hear him? He said he want to commit that crime. You know, it was people out there just going crazy. Why would Deontay say he want to catch a body? So you're worried about him catching a body, but yet you're not worried about him becoming a body if someone's cheating in the sport. Come on, man. Like, come on, work with me on this. Like, you don't want to see the man survive, all because he talks. You know, he has a bravado, machismo, and all that, charisma. The same thing a lot of fighters had. A lot of fighters have been talking shit for a long time. But the whole metrics to it is who goes in here in the ring and back it up. That's all. And sometimes the ones that back it up, they're still criticized because now they've gotten to a point where the fans love to hate them. They want to go to the freaking fight to see him lose. M. Greg said that the WBC is the most prestigious belt. They should be setting the standards for all organizations. If boxing was only ran with core values and honor, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not talking about a sport that consists of morals and principles. But people want to speak people want to speak on boxing when they feel it's just right. They want to speak as if it's about morals and principles. It depends on who the fighter is. If you're talking about Anthony Joshua, oh, he can do no wrong. When he lost to Andy Ruiz, oh, Anthony Joshua, something wasn't right with him. His trainer was rubbing his neck. He wasn't 100%. So guess what? All them Anthony Joshua fans, why he lost his belt, during that hiatus when he was preparing for his rematch, they was absolutely quiescent. You can hear anything. It's just like walking out around 1 o'clock in the morning, just hearing the frogs and the crickets and all this. You didn't hear them say anything. You know why? Because they didn't have confidence to raise him up even when he was on his knees. You know what I'm saying? Even when he was down, they didn't have enough confidence the way he looked in that fight to come on social media and boast him up and say he'll be back. Don't worry about it. But you got Wilder fans out here that believe in him, believe that the king will return to the ring and get it done. American belt, the American champion has lost his belt, and now you have 2 UK fighters, 2 Brits who has the titles. That's fact. Now, all we want to hear is criticism and all this other bullshit. Come on, man. DBMA said there's a big difference between selling a fight. Let me back up a little bit. Big time hush on the Jimenez, even though she popped dirty and it was proven. That is the big question mark on why they never gave the belts back. That's my dilemma too. Like, what's going on with her? You know, in these belts, does she still have a belt in her possession? I mean, she should have been stripped of those belts already. That's only right. That's only justice, right? That's holding integrity. Now, if boxing is going to start just saying, you know what, blatantly, I know they screwed up, but we're going to do what we want to do. We want to go ahead and make this Jimenez fight with Shields. How is that going to happen? Like, damn, how do you sit up here and ignore and not come out to the media and address potential ramifications or repercussions for Jimenez popping dirty? Not on one sample, 2 samples. The A and B, the Alpha Bravo, she popped dirty on both of them. And then all these people advocating for these neighboring fighters, man. People up here saying, man, she looked like a man, she sound like a man. And people's like, oh, that's wrong. What's wrong with you? You're just being insensitive. No, I'm being sensitive. And I'm glad, you know, what I'm seeing up here against all these other athletes that's in the transition stage, that's competing. Like, you have these men that's competing in the female category and winning. I'm glad they're banning that because I don't think it's fair. I don't think men who aren't capable or athletic enough to train themselves to compete on the highest level with their own gender, they're now looking for a way to say, okay, how can I be better? How can I do this? You have men who are winning NCAA women's titles now. You're taking everything away from a woman who was born a woman, and now you have men coming in there claiming to be something they're not, and they're winning. So that's proven that they're still stronger than a woman. So I'm glad states are taking action and banning that because it's not fair. It's not fair. Just like the boxer, the man that's supposed to be in that same transition, going over here beating up on women. Like, you're going to sit up here and pick up belts all because you use a certain type of word and medically you can prove that? Nah, that ain't cool. Seriously, that ain't cool. We need to take a good look on that shit, man, about that and clean that up real quick. There's a big difference between selling a fight and actually premeditating to cause harm to someone and actually bringing it to fruition. Just saying, no, she's still having. And that's typical a little bit. Like, we expect boxing in a sense to be dirty, but then you look at it like it's been around long enough for them to make those quality decisions. You know what I'm saying? The sport's been around so freaking long. And here we are in 2020, and we still have situations that we can use common sense about, right? We can absolutely use common sense on this matter with Alejandra Jimenez, that she popped dirty. and we don't hear nobody talking about it. Even on the social media platforms, really nobody's talking about it. Nobody's really surfacing and keeping it relevant to say, where is Franchise Cruz deserving belts? Where? I know why. I know why Promotions. I know he's been dropping through. I like to ask him next time he dropped through. I'm gonna ask him. I say, why haven't they returned her belts yet? Because that was a damn good fight. But come to find out, her opposition was dirty, point blank. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You know, another thing I like about boxing is that you can never have really with somebody you don't know. Just say it's somebody you don't know. You can never really have a decent conversation with the person who's set in their ways about who they want to talk about. If you want to really talk about the entire sport of boxing, you know, from this modern era to back then, because you know you study the history, cool. But if you get somebody that just want to talk about the top layer, and they want to argue you down about the top layer of boxing, and nothing can redirect them, you cannot change their mind. You're always going to have an argument in boxing when you're talking to people who only deal with the top layer of the sport. It's so much to freaking learn about boxing. That's why, you know, I can get on here and I can talk boxing, but there's plenty of people that know more boxing with me. So if I get on here and talk boxing with somebody who I know that know the sport, right? I know that has a depth of knowledge, and I'm not as talkative. I have gotten a feeling, an impression for some of them that they seem like I wasn't willing to engage. But what I was willing to do is learn. I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to what the hell you're talking about. I like listening to what people have to say if they are talking something that's productive. You know what I'm saying? It's not all about going tit for tat and then people cutting you off and say, listen. No, hold on. You know, that's all you hear, like, hold on. No. And then you give them some facts. They say, no. What about this, right? What about this? They just have a question for you about everything, but they're not willing to exchange dialogue so both of you all can get educated. See, I do that shit on the sneak tip. Like, I'm listening and I'll let the person know that I'm listening. That don't mean I don't know. I'm just listening to their point of view. I'm just listening. You know, they expect you to get on here and go mano a mano, and it's not the type of energy you need for the subject at hand. But if it's something that we really need to discuss in depth, I'm all about it. I'm all about it, for real. I know it might have, you know, been a little twists and turns there, but that's how I look at some of these people. I've seen it on him on YouTube. People that really, they know boxing, but when it comes to somebody else that know boxing, they're not willing to listen. They just cut them off, ask question after question, but they don't want to answer nobody's question. DBMA said it's not fair because transgender or not, a man maintains his natural strength of a woman. Absolutely. Shout out to Lion Killer in the building, man. Greetings. Salute to you, my brother. Y'all be sure to subscribe to his channel, man. Real thorough dude, man, with his knowledge. He's not a boxing channel or whatever. He's just a life channel. That's a life channel right there. M. Greg say the people who only deal with the top layer, only are casuals. I mean, that's the way I feel too. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the way I feel, because you just want to talk about something that you're familiar with, and it's good, right? Let's be honest. It's good to talk about shit you know. It really. But when it comes to boxing, there's opinions. Subjective, objective, whatever you want to call it. There's opinions. And lately, a huge talking point has been the situation with Deontay Wilder's uniform, you know, Tyson Fury gloves, which you haven't really heard anybody talk about Tyson Fury gloves on the mainstream network. But they've talked about Deontay Wilder making an excuse. They call it an excuse. They said about his uniform. So we've heard that, but no one, you haven't heard any mainstream media talk about the glove issue? Nobody. Nobody. The only thing they ran with is what Deontay said in a sidebar conversation. That's all. They ran with it. And could you believe what he said? He has the audacity to say it. That's all you was hearing. That had to be the dumbest excuse we ever heard. That's all you have heard. Like I can say, listening is a rare trait in society. That's absolutely true. DBMA said, green is line. Okay, you driving. That's what's up. But yeah, you know, we have to come to a point with this boxing game, right? It's always going to be somebody out there that knows more or whatever the case. But listen, you'll find out who knows less if you kind of drive outside that lane that they're comfortable with. You know, the top layer lane. If you drive outside that lane in a different direction in boxing, then it gets quiet and offensive. Then you're like, man, they got time to be talking about that shit. Get out of my face. You know what I'm saying? When I hear fans say that they ain't fought nobody. So let's just take the heavyweight division. People say Fury has the best resume out of everybody in the heavyweight division, right? So if you basically popped on one of the top names on your resume, does it count? Does it count? Does the Klitschko, being that you won the titles, does it count? Then you never defended the title and you left the sport and everything. Should it count? Should it be your a part of your glory and people recognizing you as one of the best heavyweights in the sport? Now that you have all the belts, now we look forward to seeing you defend it. Don't sit up here and say you're undisputed and you never defended a single belt when you was unified champion. But Deontay defended his belts 10 times, going in there for 11 and come up short. And people say he ain't fought nobody. He ain't fought nobody. Not a single soul, man. I mean, it just kills people to make admissions how difficult it is to get in the ring and box. It's difficult. A lot of these people can't even shadow box for freaking 15 minutes. You ask them how many rounds consist of 15 minutes. They couldn't even tell you. They really don't know how many rounds is it a minute. I mean, how many minutes are in a round. They couldn't tell you. But they could just sit up here and say, oh, they ain't fought nobody. Like Anthony Joshua for say, him and Tyson Fury has the same freaking recognition, don't they? They have a Klitschko on their resume. But when you say Klitschko was inactive and they specifically chose Klitschko, one, they needed someone to sell out the arena in Wembley. And two, he was the opponent that understood the orders. Klitschko wasn't coming back to the square to reign as champion. He was just coming back to get some work in, be a body, be an opponent for Anthony Joshua. He understood what the orders were. And this was for Anthony Joshua to have him on his resume. And guess what? So people can talk about it like they're doing now. So when Klitschko got in there, he's like, shit, I can whoop Joshua ass, you know, if I want to. You know what I'm saying? When he knocked Joshua down, he's like, man, this is too freaking easy. That's what Klitschko was saying, man. This is too easy. Damn, this guy needs some work. But since they're friends, he kind of probably put the shit in neutral a little bit. Because he would have went up there and fucked Joshua up, for real. Klitschko could have beat Joshua that night. Say what you want. Klitschko ended the fight because of the ref. In the 11th round, the referee stopped the fight, just like the referee stopped the fight in Carlos Takam in the 10th round. Correction, I was saying man are naturally stronger than a female. The tribalism in the sport is tiresome. 3 minutes is a long ass time in the ring. It is, man. You know, you ask somebody if you got 15 minutes, how many rounds would that be for you if you was to just shadow box? You know, you don't want to say, okay, 3. You know, you want them to explain to you, first of all, how many minutes is it per round for the male side of the boxing side? How many minutes per round? And then if it's 15 minutes, then do simple multiplication and add it up. So you get in there, no gloves, and you shadow box for that long. You take a little break in between. How long is a break in between rounds? And you ask them that. But to a person that's a casual, they're gonna get upset. They're gonna be like, man, fuck all that. I ain't got time to be listening to that. But yet you just want to act like you know about the sport. No, you're a casual boxing fan. This is just a casual boxing fan, man. Deontay fought whoever would actually fight him. Everyone avoided Wilder. Same for Ortiz, and Wilder fought him twice. You know, that's a solid point. You know, line killer, DBMA, solid points, man, because you know when you look at it, right, Luis Ortiz has 2 losses on his record, all from Deontay Wilder. But when the opportunity presented itself for us to potentially have a unification bout, only thing we heard was unsavory, unfair deals being presented from Eddie Hearns and Joshua. I say Eddie Hearns because Joshua don't have shit to do with negotiation process. Eddie Hearns was basically trying to put Deontay Wilder in a predicament where he couldn't even appreciate, you know what I'm saying, going in there winning the titles. He would have to basically go in there in a form of civility. That's somewhat slavery. You know what I'm saying? That's slavery. If you're going in there fighting as a boxer and somebody tells you 12 million flat fee, already you're thinking about who you have to pay and if the risk worth the reward. And in Deontay Wilder's mind, in my perception, he was like, you know what? I'll take it. Let me go over there and get these belts. I know I can beat Joshua. And then whatever happened between them in the negotiation process, it went up to 15. But I still remember Eddie Hearns getting on here and saying, we increased it from 12 million. We increased it. So he goes to 15 million, which ain't nothing. We're talking about taxes off the rip. We're talking about paying off the collective positions, people that's managing you, and all the other branches that you have to pay out. And then your take-home pay is what it is. So you want to send Deontay Wilder into a fight that potentially may gross close to 100 million at that time, 80 to 100 million. And then he comes out his mouth and said, give me 50 million. So when the 50 million is met, then you get on here and say you don't want to sell your soul or your belts for 50 million. It's lunacy to no end, y'all. Like, I can ask any one of you all on here, if you had the unified titles, would you fight for 50 million? That was your guarantee money, not your cap. That's your guarantee. And then you getting paid upside to the fight. Now, granted, your opponent is only getting 15 million flat. So the rest is however, you know, you do to get a bulk load of the lion's share. So you go in there and you fight. And man, you feeling good. Because you know you're getting the whole bank. So why wouldn't you step in there and fight for a guaranteed 50 million? Why? Because first of all, Deontay Wilder put a stipulation. If I take the 50 million, if I give you the 50 million, it has to be in the United States. No rematch clause. And it has to be in 2018. That was the little minor stipulations. No, they didn't want to do that. That's too much. Joshua's paranoid as hell to come over here to the U.S. He's paranoid, especially if it's against Deontay Wilder. And I agree, DBMA, about Deontay Wilder. You know, he stepped up the challenge. You know, the only person he ain't fought, which in my opinion really wasn't a big name. It's not a big name anyway because he's all over the place. And his performances really haven't lived up to step in there with the WBC champ at the time was Dillian White. You know, he didn't look good against Joseph Parker. You know, Joseph Parker had a quick turnaround after he lost to Anthony Joshua and lost. Like, what the hell are you doing? Who's on your team? What's going on, man? Don Dollar, salute, man. What's good with you? Thanks for dropping in, man. DBMA say Tyson actually lost his last fight before the rematch with Wilder. Cut like that along would have been stopped if it were any other fighter. Hey, man, they was building Tyson Fury to be where he at right now. You know, I really don't sit up here and just lay down, you know, all these conspiracy theories and all that shit. But when it comes to boxing, the maneuvering, the pawns on the board, it's people out there that's making a decision and making the moves themselves and shifting spaces to get certain peoples into position. Absolutely, boxing's been that way for the test of time. You just have to pay close attention to it and believe what you're seeing. You can't sit up here and know the shit is the way it is and then deny it. You know, like, let me cover my eyes up. No, you got to understand what you're dealing with. I see it all the time on the regional level, man. Boxing is a dirty, dirty game. I tell people all the time, I understand why a lot of these fighters, when they get up to the point where they really making it and they get the televised slot, they get a world championship, they ain't trying to mess with anybody because them same people didn't give them any shine when they was on the come up. They talking about you fighting bums and you a bum and you ain't fighting nobody. And then when you start winning, they want to say, well, we're going to see how long he keep the belt. So you go out here and defend the belt twice and you lose it. Now you go back to the same way they thought about you when you was on the regional level. That's facts. Hey, appreciate that, Don Dollar, World Combat Sports. Salute to you. Line Killer say, time will tell the story on Wilder. 10 title defenses, high KO ratio, 1 loss. History is always kinder than the present. Well, hopefully, you know, they're able to show him that. Well, I look at it like this, Line Killer. I look at it like this, man. I'm really hoping Deontay Wilder is able to come back and step in the ring with Tyson Fury and prove that he was the better man on that night, but he wasn't in the best condition. What I mean by better man is him being able to go in there and defeat Tyson Fury as a boxer, as a heavyweight boxer. Because I said plenty of times before, I thought he was the best heavyweight champion. That, in my opinion, still stands. I think he's the best heavyweight champion. I think he has the power. Power doesn't go anywhere. I look at Fury and the way he handled that, he fought a damn good fight. He fought a solid fight, smart. But when it comes down to if he had loaded, I wouldn't say loaded gloves. If his gloves was manipulated, if his hand wasn't all the way in there, whatever the case may be, then he need to face the music, and somebody need to call him out on it. But since it's so much money dependent on this freaking trilogy, I think they're going to be very quiet. I don't think it's going to go down the way people think. Mind Killer said, we are in an age of instant gratification and instant Hall of Fame honors. Man, some of the strangest people that you would never think that was getting in the Hall of Fame are really eligible to get in the Hall of Fame. It all depends, man. I'm serious. Man, I'm not going to get into it, man. Especially the Marine Corps Hall of Fame. I'm going to leave that alone. I don't feel like cracking eggs right now, boy. DBMA said there's an action video of former promoter. The actually said he fixed over 100 fights. I think I may know who you're talking about. And I won't downplay that at all. I mean, boxing is what it is, man. People have to get paid, and you have fighters that's coming in that need wins. So they come off the street all the time, man. Of course, you know, you're gonna see records when they're at the starting point. You're gonna see these records, man, fluffed. You're gonna see a lot of fluffed opponents on there with lopsided records. That's just the way boxing is on the bottom scale, man. Wilder needs to improve in multiple areas. That's fact. Wilder's gonna have to come in here with a different mindset, doing his training to improve what he would see that would make him more of a threat to Tyson Fury right out the gate. That means a jab. That means combinations. The first two right there, that needs to be settled in training camp. And he has some good people around him. They kind of threw a curveball out here in the media, keeping it real, keeping it 100. They put a freaking bone out here, knowing that shit wasn't true. They was up here trying to make it seem like Joe Goosen was going to be Deontay Wilder's trainer. So I hear another media outlet reporting on it, and I'm not placing culpability on them, but what I'm saying is the person that specifically mentioned it was on the grounds for this fight that just happened this past weekend, right? So he was making a point to say who he was speaking with in Joe Goosen, and tried to insinuate that the conversation led him to believe when he asked him the question, are you going to be training the heavyweight? And he got the impression from Joe Goosen, come on, man, we're dealing with grown-ass men. We're dealing with grown-ass men. If you want to make a point clear, you make it clear. But he was insinuating that, yeah, he said he was going to be training a heavyweight. So they bring it back to the microcosms. The segues is on this level right here, the lower echelon, and they give it to somebody as a freaking meat on the bone. But really, it's tofu. You know what I'm saying? It's just tofu, goddammit. You give it to them, they report it all over. Oh, Joe Goosen might be freaking Deontay Wilder's next trainer, and come to find out, Joe Goosen is training Kubrat Pulev. It's going to be a big announcement tonight. He's going to be a big announcement. And what they're doing is bringing all this energy to the fight so people can tune in and watch. And I enjoyed the fight card now. Don't get it twisted. I mean, I like the fight card. But then they bring all the energy, all the viewership to the fight card. And then Joe Goosen announces that he's going to be in the corner of Kubrat Pulev. That's media, people. During the time he was an active promoter. Okay, King Ebenezer. King Ebenezer said the glove gate was debunked. What's your sources there, Ebenezer? Be more specific. I need sources, because you can't come in here and say it was debunked on someone or some media segue that doesn't have any validity behind it. You know, because myself, all I would say is I read more than one source. And then with that source, I even dig a bit deeper to find out. So when you jump on here, all I would do is ask you to provide more source accreditation to what you're speaking on. That ain't gonna fly in here. Nobody's making excuses, man. Now let me be clear there, Ebenezer. Let me be clear. I know it's a lot of people out there that want to jump on here and be rebels. You know what I'm saying? If you have some quality comments to make, cool. But all you're gonna do is get on here and say what Wilder isn't and all this, and everybody who support Wilder's fanboys, then I'm gonna put your ass on timeout. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all. It's my platform. You deal with it. Your opinion ain't good enough. Your opinion to debunk something. Life ain't that simple, my brother. Like, life isn't that simple to come on a platform and say, well, the glove situation, the glove gate has been debunked. And I ask you just a general response. What is your sources to debunk it? Or it's my opinion. Okay, if it's your opinion is not based off fact. Look it up in the dictionary. Your opinion is just that. It's not based off fact. So I just take it as your opinion. But if you're making a claim that the glove gate has been debunked, what are your sources? So we can talk about it. That's all. M. Greg say Joe Goosen will be training Pulev in this fight with Joshua. Correct. I myself don't think AJ will beat Pulev. I think he would defeat Pulev there, DBMA, because I don't, at Kubrat's age right now, at this juncture in his career, I just don't see him defeating Anthony Joshua. Not because he can't. I just think he's the mandatory, and he's going to go in there, and we're going to get the same, same results as Alexander Povetkin when they was at Wembley. I truly believe that's what we're going to get. I'm not saying he cannot defeat him, but until I see it, until I see Joshua lose those belts fighting across the pond, I'll believe it. That it's not all manufactured. You know what I'm saying? I'll believe it when it's not all manufactured. That's all I'm saying. Lion Killer say, I'm not buying the glove gate either if they didn't catch it before the fight of doing its history. The truth of the matter is Tyson Fury simply beat Wilder. Nothing wrong with that. Wilder must. I disagree. I think with what the evidence is out there, they just need to do some more investigation. I'm just going off what looks natural and what looks unnatural. Unfortunately, in this particular case, the prefix means a lot more than just the word itself. It's a lot of things that's going on with Tyson Fury that looks unnatural to me, especially if you don't have so many other boxers before him. So just exclude them. We're not comparing Tyson Fury's jab to anybody. Just exclude that. Let's look at other video of Tyson Fury himself. Just take other video. Bring that video up to comparison outside of Deontay Wilder. Let's see the glove flapping in the wind. Let's see the damn exposed hand. Let's see another video outside of Deontay Wilder's first bout and his second bout. Let's see it. Because we already have the Christian Hammer fight. You know what I'm saying? We already have the referee catching him cheating there. So he wasn't able to get it done. But bring another video out here of Tyson Fury to say he boxes like that, and we've seen his gloves do that with somebody else. And then I may digress. Until then, I would say it's something unnatural about that glove. William Old School, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping in. Salute, Scotty, and it is not debunked. I'm not worried about people that come in here with all sorts of accounts, because I know people have ghost accounts. I know people just want to come in here and freaking say things and then don't have no validity to it just to cause a little bit of energy. You know what I'm saying? They want that energy. But that's the second time he done came in here. So I'm pretty much understanding what it's about. I give him time to come up here and get some more information. That's why you can't get all hype when people come in here and you don't see them too often. There's plenty of people on social media, especially YouTube, that can create so many accounts and come in here and just ignite an argument if the host allows that to happen. Grosso, what's good, man? Glovegate evidence is overwhelmingly mounting, but how can they pull a fast one when the WBC officials in Nevada State Athletic Commission and Team Wilder is in the room watching Fury get his hand wrapped? Hey, Grosso, show me a video. I think I said this before on my other live. Show me a video where they show Tyson Fury getting his hands wrapped. All I want to see is the video. Show me the video, because we up here seeing Deontay Wilder get his gloves out of FedEx package, all thorough. You know what I'm saying? The chain of custody is there and everything. Like, I just want to see a video on that night. I just want to see on that night. I'm not talking about his hands wrapped in the ring post-fight. I'm not talking about any of that. I just want to see a video of him getting his hands wrapped. And, why was the towel over the camera before him walking out? What is all that about? Because, man, I can go so far into commissions being in place. That don't mean nothing. I'm telling you, that don't mean nothing. This boxing we talking about. It's boxing. There's so many people that have positions. But come on, man. Hear no evil, see no evil, man. It happens all the time in a lot of sports, not just boxing. And look, the magnitude of this boxing match, it isn't the first time that we've seen. Look, was the commission there when Antonio Margarita was wrapping up and he had pink substance on his hand wrap? The commission was there, right? They was there looking at that. They was looking and said, Margarita, okay, he got some Jello pudding, coming out of his freaking hand wraps. Commission did not catch him. Freaking Nassim Richardson caught him. Sugar Shane's trainer at the time. Not the commission. Not the commission. That's just fact on more recent fights that we've been a part of that resulted in someone actually getting caught. Now, let's take, for instance, right, the Panama Lewis situation where Luis Resto went over to Billy's dad and shook his hand. And Billy's dad grabbing the glove just like the referee did in Christian Hammer fight. And he felt something was wrong. Now, of course, the referee in Christian Hammer, Tyson Fury with Christian Hammer, it was because the thumb was missing. And he was like, no, something ain't right with this. What the hell going on? But in this case with Billy's dad, he felt like it wasn't hardly any padding. It was minimal padding in the glove. So that reciprocated to them confiscating the gloves themselves and finding out that an ounce of padding been removed in each knuckle set. And, a hole had been placed in the palm of each glove. So after Billy took that beating, he never boxed again. So where was the commission there? What was the commission when that happened? Because Panama Lewis, of course, they end up going and doing some time. He was banned for the sport for life. And Luis Resto, he ended up going and doing time too. And I say this all the time. Luis Resto wasn't even undefeated. Billy Collins was. But yet, the selfish part about it is that Panama Lewis had betted money on his fighter. So that's why, after everything that was coming out, that he got the punishment that he did. What was the commission when that happened? I mean, you tell me, where was the commission when that happened? The commission is there all the time. They're on deck, but that doesn't mean they're right next to the action. I'm not gonna get on what you see on man. I'm still covering regional cards, so I'm gonna let that slide. I'm still trying to get in and cover. But that's a damn good point, Grosso. Respect. Not the first time his gloves was faulty. I feel y'all would like to see a video too. I just want people to come here and show me a video. Like, show me another video of Tyson Fury fighting another fighter. You know what I'm saying? And show the same rotation, the same pliable effect that his gloves had in the Deontay Wilder fight. That's all. That's all I'm asking. I mean, it's nothing serious. It's nothing that's impossible. I just want to show a video. It takes a little bit more to come on here and just say what you say. Talking about the glove gate has been debunked. And I just don't know why so many black people are here just lighting torches like it's the Million Man March. You know what I'm saying? They sitting up here just like, I have to sit up here and go to the defense. I have to protest. I have to. All these people, like you wouldn't even give that energy to a fighter in the U.S. Forget about Deontay Wilder. They wouldn't even go and give that to a fighter like Floyd Mayweather. They wouldn't even do it for their own. We're talking about champions. They wouldn't even do it for their own U.S. fighter, but they up here corralling one another, and they're defending Tyson Fury. But yet, if it was Deontay Wilder with a drug problem, they would have been calling that man a crackhead and everything else. They would have been absolutely relentless. Look at him. He's a crackhead. He's a dope fiend. He should never be allowed to box again in life. That's what they were saying when he said the bronze bomber want to catch a body. Real talk, man. Grosso say this is a high-level heavyweight title bout. Silly shit like this not supposed to happen. It's 2020. They got to do better. It's too much money in the sport, man. The guy Rob from Mayweather Gym put a video out with the wrong kind of gloves. So that video doesn't tell the whole story. And plus, you know, them individuals that was in Mayweather gym, how can they emulate Tyson Fury when they barely even punch in the bag? If the whole process was for you to put a video out to go against Deontay Wilder subliminally, it failed. It failed miserably because you're asking a female to hit the bag. She said, huh? Do what? Like, just because you box doesn't mean you study the sport like that. That doesn't mean her being in that gym, she's going to go against the grain and come up here and say, you know what? It's a possibility that Tyson Fury could have had his hand down here and popped somebody like that. Shit, Deontay Wilder, he did it. He's done knock dudes out, slapping them with the palm of his hand. Why the hell you can't do it? Why can't Tyson Fury do it? Man, it's possible. I know you're supposed to hit the person with the end part of the glove. You know what I'm saying? The outside layer of the outside property of the glove. We get it. But does it always happen in the heat of battle? It doesn't. DBMA said AJ, he will vacate that WBO belt if he has not already. Hearns will see to it, and he will have the stable mates fight for it under the same banner. Most likely be Usyk. Good point. I know they're trying their best, man, to make Alexander Usyk a champion in the heavyweight division. So therefore, they can have another avenue to make some money off a bout. You know what I'm saying? And that's a solid point. They're trying their best, man, to raise Usyk and get him that title shot in the heavyweight division. I mean, he had a soft touch. His first fight in heavyweight division, and then he's going to be set whenever he get off this injury to make that next step up. You know, William said, I went back and pulled up some Tyson Fury old fights, and I can't find one that he did that shit with the gloves. The only reason I'm asking William is that people don't want to do research because they know that we live in a technology era. We have the resources. We can go out here and put search in. We can put in search inquiries any way we want. We have access to that. People just don't want to do it because it's dealing with this case. Like, they just don't want to sit up here and try to find footage of old Tyson Fury fights. Go through it. Actually look at the fight. And once you're able to find it, all you have to do is stop the video right there. If you have a download app, download it. Edit it, splice it, and put it up here. And then so people can see, okay, this is what it is. There's plenty of videos out there already showing up close angles of the glove itself and the hand wraps and everything else. But, you know, when you bring that word debunk, you have to have some evidence behind it to validate your point. That's all I'm saying. We want to see video. There's plenty of footage out there for Tyson Fury. Let's go. Believe me, I looked. I'm not deep in the freaking doing edits all freaking time, but I will look for some freaking footage though. But thanks for that, William Old School. Appreciate the info, man. Grosso, I can't find it. I can't front though. There's footage of Ali versus Frazier where Ali was open palm jabbing and his wrist was extended back just like Fury. And I've seen that video, but that's not the point that I'm actually trying to make. We're not talking about the motion of the jab. We're not talking about how Ali was jabbing, how he was popping them like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, was his hand all the way in the glove? You know what I'm saying? It's people can throw a jab any way they feel like, just like they was calling Deontay Wilder windmill and all that. People can throw power shots and jabs any way they want. But what we want to know is, was the hand inserted all the way, following the rules? You know what I'm saying? SLK 50, what's good? I forgot. I shared it to different. Let me get these comments off Facebook. I appreciate that comment, Grosso. SLK 50 TV. Salute to you for dropping in the building, man. And also, while he's trying to push that glove on, also he was trying to let the ref know. Plus a lot of UK fighters open hand. Joe Calzaghe. It's a good point. DBMA said Christian Hammer versus Tyson 5 years ago is when he's caught and they made him change in the ring and he held up the fight. And, you know, I mentioned that previously. But look, once again, you have people that say nothing, DBMA, SLK 50, absolutely nothing about that particular incident. All they want to do is advocate for this particular moment, February 22nd. They don't want to go past anything except Deontay Wilder got beat. Mark Breland threw in the towel in the 7th round. He got beat. When it comes to information like that, no one is talking about what the referee was able to discover on that night, and also the expression that he had on his face right in front of the camera. That is the expression that, damn, you know, you're trying to cheat on my watch? You're trying to go ahead and do this, Tyson Fury, on my watch? Why would they make the man change his gloves out? Why isn't more people speaking about that particular incident? Because it requires them to come up with a narrative in comparison to what happened February 22nd. Does Tyson Fury have the potential? Does he present that mentality, go ahead and cheat? Absolutely. He presents it. Absolutely, man. SLK said, and if it was such a benefit, why he didn't knock Deontay Wilder out like the second fight? Love this sport, but it's a lot of fanboys trying to pass judgment. Retro Bob, what's up? What's up with you? DBMA say facts, SLK. For sure, man. It's solid point you made, man. Retro say Ali wasn't bare knuckle boxing. I know, man. You know, it's good for people to use Ali name like that, you know. But if I wanted to, you know, if I wanted to cut the thread on something, I can tell you something about Ali that you probably won't believe. If I break it down and itemize it for you, it's like, oh shit. Okay, that makes a little sense right there. Okay, I understand. That'll show you how grimy boxing can be, even from the man himself, Muhammad Ali. That's real talk. It has nothing to do with his not going into the military or nothing. It just has a lot to do with when you're certain places, you talk to people who was back there, who's been there, and knows for a fact, and you learn certain things about history. Like I said, I'll sit there and listen to the old heads. I call them OGs, you know, that was back there in that particular era, who knows a lot about those fighters. SLK said that glove that held that fight up was the thumb had a tear. His thumb wasn't even in the, I mean, Tyson Fury's thumb wasn't in the slot where the thumb should be. Because you can see where the referee is freaking mashing it together like, you know, what's going on with this? So there might have been something that's manipulated internal to the glove that he can move his thumb outside and have his fist near the bottom of the glove. But check this out. Another fact from that video is that if you look at Tyson Fury's expression, it says everything. If I was in there with either one of you, right, and the referee came up to me and he's mashing my thumb back and forth, and I know damn well something isn't right because I know it's supposed to be that way, and Tyson Fury is trying to cheat, he scratches his head like this with the guiltiest look you can have as a fighter, because the natural reaction isn't going to be a scratching your head and no facial expression. Like naturally, somebody can say, excuse me, what's going on with my glove? If everything is right, you're gonna be like, what's going on? What's wrong? The thumb. Oh, okay. I didn't know. I mean, you're gonna have some type of immediate reaction. It's gonna be natural. It's gonna be sincere. It's gonna be genuine. But Tyson Fury scratched his head like he had that, oh shit, I just got caught look. Man, why are we sitting up here acting like we don't know what humanistic behavior consists of, man? You know one thing, when we talk about religion and God, right? I wish he would have blessed us with the ability to know when somebody's just absolutely bullshitting you. You know what I'm saying? I wish God would have blessed us with the know-how to say, the feel, the energy from someone else to say, man, why are you lying to me? Okay, I apologize. I wish he would have blessed us with mind reading and not just an elite few that has that gift. I just wish we can, read each other's mind and hold each other accountable. If someone don't like you, you will automatically get that feeling right away. You know what I'm saying? It won't be no hesitation. It'll be like, no, you're not being honest. Job interviews and everything else. You're not being honest. SRK say, okay, I hear you, bro. Yeah, look at the thumb, man, when he was meshing together. You don't see the referee put his hand inside the thumb area. He's mashing together to say, okay, your thumb is not in there. So the reason why Tyson Fury had to change gloves was because the area was manipulated. They wouldn't have made him change that glove out if it wasn't manipulated from its original manufacturer or whatever. Like internally, if the core of it wasn't manipulated. Because if it was just the thumb, right, he could have put his thumb back up in there. But Tyson Fury had it to a point where his glove was fucked up. You trying to tell me the thumb area don't have no cushion? It has to. It has to have some cushion in there. Because a fighter get hit with the palm and you hit the knuckle of the thumb, it's going to do a little bit of damage. I mean, just take your thumb and just do it like that up against your face. I mean, you're gonna feel it. Grosso say, yeah, we know Ali trainer Dundee ripped Ali's glove to buy more time for him to recover. All times of trickery in boxing. Hey man, whatever works, you know what I'm saying? Whatever works. Dundada said the ref was shaking his head like, what the F, for real? I mean, the video, now, when I was growing up, we didn't have all this shit, right? We didn't have all the goddamn phones and droids and iPhones and stuff. Now that we have the resources, right, to sit up here and look stuff up, now we come to a point where people say, nope, I refuse to do it. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to research. I'm not going to do shit. And then if they do research it, they'll look at it like, nah, that's not what I see. It's right there in front of you. What are you saying? That's not what you see. You don't have to see it just because Scotty told you. I'm just telling you, if you're going off the way boxing has been for years, find me another video that emulates or mimics Tyson Fury's form. Not Muhammad Ali. We're talking about Tyson Fury outside of Deontay Wilder's one and the second bout that they had. I want to see Tyson Fury flicking his hand like that. I want to see the glove fly back. I want to see all that. I want to see all that. I want to see hand wraps. It's video. It's plenty of footage out there. I want to see both of his hands with the hand wraps exposed outside of the tape. I want to see a video with his left hand like we've seen outside of Deontay Wilder fights. That's all. If you can't find that, then we need to stick with what's evident. And the evident part of it is what people don't want to talk about. All because they just saying, they just don't want to talk about it because they want Deontay Wilder to keep that L. He's going to keep the loss. That's period. Come on. Deontay Wilder, he has one loss on his record. But you know what? Like I said before, there's plenty other greats out there. Plenty that has losses on their record, people. It's plenty. Everybody can't be Harry Greb. You know what I'm saying? 65-1-1. Everybody can't have one loss on their record and retire. Everybody can't be Andre Ward. Everybody can't be Lil Ali, Floyd Mayweather retired, with nothing. Henry Armstrong, 151-21. But he was a 3 division champion simultaneously at the same time. So you're going to say, oh, he had all the losses on his record, but he ain't a great? I mean, back then, man, they was able to get away with that. What about Archie Moore, man? All those knockouts he had. Then you look at his losses. How long it took him to become heavyweight champ. Are you going to sit up here and say that they're not worthy because they have some losses on their record? Y'all just let me know if y'all want me to break down that Muhammad Ali now, tell you how grimy boxing really is. I look at stuff like that, man. I'm telling you, I look at stuff like that. William say, the worst part about this whole thing is the guys from our country are talking about Wilder like he was some dude who came off the street and was just lucky. I mean, I agree with you, William, but they know he's from Alabama, and they truly don't want to give him credit for his accomplishments. I was just having a conversation with somebody about Wilder, and they was just trying to make it seem like the man came out the YMCA and stepped up. They try to make it seem like Wilder stepping in there with Tyson Fury was like Errol Spence and Carlos Ocampo. Out of nowhere, Carlos Ocampo get to call up to face Errol Spence as the mandatory. Don't nobody know who the hell Carlos Ocampo is. So me, going up to Texas and shit, I go up there only to see Errol Spence knock this dude out in the first round. I mean, the walkout was great. Yellow Beezy, it's on me, babe. I mean, that played through. Everybody was rocking to that, But Errol Spence, felt 2 punches from Carlos Ocampo, and then he knocked him out. Gone. So that's how they feel about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, because the first fight, it was controversial, and they felt like Deontay didn't win. Now, coming full circle back to the MGM, away from the Staples Center, everything is right where it needs to be. You're in the right area for the money. It's a big-time fight. It's one of the biggest boxing matches of this era. And Deontay goes in there and look the worst he's ever looked. So therefore, in the point of a sidebar conversation, they run with the uniform issue. So I see all these media outlets talking shit about Deontay. Like, this man is good enough to be 42 victories in, but he isn't intelligent enough to get the respect from not only boxing fans, but his own people. His own people, a lot of them up here just talking shit about him as if the man can't even freaking box. But look, you get those same individuals, right? They've never seen the man spar before. I have. I've seen him spar before. I've seen him spar 3 heavyweights at one time. But yet, when you talk about him, right, people want to, sit up here and say you're a fanboy and all the other bullshit. That's only because, we're supporting an American champ that happens to be a black American heavyweight champ. They want to put the label on us and say, you're just a fanboy. Lamar Pitt said, what about the glove? DBMA said, yeah, that's a sad part of William O. School. It's like they're showing their true colors. They were waiting for Wilder to fail so they could talk about him. He's just been the luckiest man in the world becoming champion. Hey, I don't disagree with you on that, William. If I did, I'll tell you. But one thing about me, you don't have to agree with everything I say, because either way it goes, if I've done research on it, I'm just going to give my opinion. One thing I don't want you all to do to think you have to believe my opinion. But when it comes to this particular fighter, all you have to do is look at Floyd Mayweather. That's all you have to do. Floyd Mayweather was an anomaly in a sense that he was able to manipulate the sport of boxing to get people to pay to come see him fight. He did it so masterful that you really couldn't deny him. But when it came down to a point of Floyd Mayweather going in there giving the fans what they wanted, especially when he was fighting a Mexican fighter or a Filipino fighter like Manny Pacquiao, they wanted him to engage. They wanted him to bring all that energy and have a brawl like the Mickey Ward and the Toro Gottis. You know what I'm saying? The Eric Moraleses, Israel Vasquez's, Antonio Barreras. They wanted him to go in there and brawl, and Floyd was like, it's to hit and not get hit. It's called boxing. That's what I'm here to do. It's called boxing. So therefore, they criticize him for not really being that active, but waiting on the counter shot. Pop shotting. That's what they wanted to see from Floyd. So you take a boxer like Floyd Mayweather and how gifted and how much of a measuring bar that he's been in boxing. People still criticizing, right? That he ain't knocking motherfuckers out. And then you get with Deontay Wilder, he's knocking people out, but yet his fundamentals are fragmented. He doesn't have enough collectively to appease his boxing fans. So they criticize the shit out of him. He's wild, he's unbalanced. They talk about his body type, aesthetics. He looked like a basketball player. But yet the man has 41 knockouts. And the second man to go the distance with him was Tyson Fury. Kudos. Kudos. But when did Tyson Fury start knocking people out? Somebody let me know. Did he knock Oliver Wallen out? It looked like he had a big-ass gash on his head. All I'm saying, you know, the video is out there. So he comes in here, and he a madman. He gets Sugar Hill Stewart, and he comes in there, and he has this power in his hands, all because he went from 259 to 273. And come on, bro. You don't get power like that. If that was the case, Jarrell Miller should be knocking him out. Jarrell Miller was fighting over 300 at one point in time. You didn't see him coming in there with crucial power. Jarrell Miller was what the fighter he fought, Dabnik, or whatever his name. He was fighting over 300 pounds, man. He didn't come in there knocking people out. And Jarrell Miller, look, Jarrell Miller is a big dude. Seriously. Jarrell Miller is a big dude. You're talking about a dude who's in kickboxing. So he knows how to throw punches. He knows how to throw combinations. He wasn't going in there just destroying dudes. Come on, man. On DBMA Retro, he can't retire until the rematch with Wilder. If he does, it's a breach. And that's a true point. A lot of people up here saying that the contract don't matter. Listen, it comes a point in time where the contract really is irrelevant. But most of the time in a high-profile bout such as this, the contract absolutely matters, y'all. The contract actually matters. You just can't say Tyson Fury got the belt. He's going over to face Anthony Joshua. That's the end all. That's not the end all. Because if Deontay Wilder wouldn't have enacted his rematch clause within 30-day period, which would have been the 23rd of March, then therefore, whatever they chose to do internally, it will allow Tyson Fury to speak, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearns to get together and speak about a unification bout. You know, Frank Warren, immediately after the fight, the very next day, he was talking about, we're going to do everything possible to make this unification bout with Joshua. They wasn't even thinking about coming back and facing Deontay Wilder. His whole point was to make a step-aside offer to Deontay Wilder. That was the objective. But see, when you're dealing with a cat like Deontay Wilder, the pride, him saying he's a king, believing that he's a king, walking and acting like a king, he want to return back to the battlefield. He want to return back to the battlefield and get his title back. Why should you downplay that? For those individuals just downplaying and saying, you know what, he don't deserve that, you goddamn hating. You just basically hating on a man who's giving you what you're supposed to get in boxing. Of his contract is already active. Lamar Pitt said a lot of blacks have immigrant names of British blacks. Lamar Pitts, man, that's a whole nother show, bro. The names of blacks, whoa. That's another argument in itself, man. I know it's a little bit off topic of boxing, but goddamn it, I'm from the South. I can speak on it if I choose to. Lamar said, damn if you do, damn if you don't. William said, DBMA, I know, bro. Another guy I watched is Showbiz, and he finally started saying decent things about Wilder, and now he is back to dogging Wilder and fake debunking. You know, the one thing about me and other media, I stay clear of what their narrative is because I'm not here to go mano and waste my time going to war with other media because they out here covering the sport too. Now, of course, me wearing focals, I do tune in to individuals that I'm not tuning in for because, you know, that's what I choose to do because I cover boxing and MMA. But I do tune in to certain media. And just like they may tune in to World Combat Sports, that doesn't mean they will sit up here and give me a shout out or they agree with what I said. All right. But one thing they can't say about World Combat Sports is that I don't know shit about boxing and I don't know shit about mixed martial arts. I don't know shit about grappling. I don't know shit about any three of what I just mentioned. They cannot say that. They cannot humbly and honestly say that to themselves. They also can't say about World Combat Sports is that I bandwagon ride fighters. I've been supporting Deontay Wilder for whatever, from the test of time, you know, back then. I know media outlets outside of myself that was supporting supporting Anthony Joshua initially. Then when Anthony Joshua got to the point of losing to Andy Ruiz, they started switching up. You know what I'm saying? They started like putting freaking videos up for views, acting like they're going to support the champ, and then turn back over and support freaking Anthony Joshua or support freaking Tyson Fury. I don't do that. And I just don't cover Deontay Wilder either. Look at my content. I just don't cover one fighter. There's plenty of media out here that just cover one specific fighter all the time. But I'll be honest with you. Everybody has their own lane, man. It's not up to me to sit up here and suit up and lace up my boots and have them on my channel so we can go mano a mano. It's pointless, man. Seneca J, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping in there, Seneca J. William said, then you have other people from here saying since Fury lives here, now he's a new heavyweight champion, which is bullshit, so disrespectful. U.S. fans has always been easily enamored with neighboring fighters. We've seen it with Tyson Fury. We've seen it with Vasily Lomachenko. And also we've seen it with Gennady Golovkin. Seriously. I don't know why they haven't really gravitated to Arthur Beterbiev yet. Beterbiev, I like Beterbiev, man. Seriously. I'm surprised they ain't gravitated to him. I remember when I was telling people about Jim Lampley, right? On how he was up here talking about Gennady Golovkin. And he was saying, like, Gennady Golovkin can freaking shadow box a three-punch combination. He can just twitch his shoulders like that. And Jim Lampley said, oh, he lands a left right. Punishing. Nobody does it like Gennady Golovkin. He didn't even land a shot. But when Jim Lampley was on there with HBO, he would boost Triple G up like no other. And people love Triple G, but I'm looking at Triple G like, bro, come on. Like, what are y'all looking at in this guy? He's so one-dimensional. He uses his head as defense, and it showed against Daniel Jacobs, who finally exposed him. That's all I'm saying. Like, U.S. fans will sit up here and say Tyson Fury is adored by the U.S., right? But yet you have somebody that's actually born and bred here, born and raised grown up in the US, and it just goes to show you how misguided the boxing fans are here. You know what I'm saying? They'll sit up here and cheer. You won't get that shit in Mexico. You won't get that shit in the Philippines. I guarantee you that. You go to Colombia, you're not going to get that. But here in the US, that's how we roll when it comes to boxing. They're gonna boo Deontay Wilder. They're gonna cheer Tyson Fury. Swipe boy, what's good, man? He said, "What I do know, this whenever Fury do step back in the ring, all eyes going to be on the left glove." Yeah, man. I totally agree. I totally agree. All eyes, like Tupac, all eyes on him. For real. You have other people from here saying, since Fury, yeah, read that already. William said, "That's when I tell the pricks to come to Louisiana at my house and show me I don't know anything about boxing. I definitely ain't scared." You know, the one thing about this sport, man, it's so deep that you can have a debate just off opinions in general. Because you can talk about a lot of boxes if both of you all, just say it's me and you talking, William, and we're talking about a specific area that we're both familiar with. We're going to have different opinions. You know why? Because that particular fighter that we are both speaking on, the primary boxer, we're going to go down his resume and talk about some of his favorite fights, his or her, right? And I may think this particular fight was one of his best fights. Your thought process in boxing may differ, and you may think another fight is his best fight. That's the sport of boxing. We always going to disagree at something because there's too much out there. Boxing, man, it's just so many freaking pages the turn. It's so many bookmarks in history. And you just have to be able to talk to a person and have them understand we both got opinions. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But what doesn't need to happen is it gets personal. You know what I'm saying? If people be goddamn losing their mind over boxing, man. I don't know how many groups I got kicked out of. I'm talking about with mixed martial arts and boxing. Like I tell people, forget the keyboard. Get on live. Mano a mano. No keyboard. And let's have a chat. Because if you're behind the screen dropping comments all the time, that can go forever. It can take you 5 minutes to respond. It can take you 10 minutes to respond. If you're going on Google doing source drops, that can take forever in a day. But if you up here talking one-on-one with somebody clearly, and you're having a dialogue, then a lot can be said about your depth of your knowledge. That goes for media too. That goes for media too. William said, "I might be old, but I still have a few miles left on my tires." Hey, man, as long as you ain't got there dropping the gear in second with the pedal to the floor, man, and burning out, you know, coming out the hole, man, 60-footing. You don't get me started on street races, shoot. I get you, man. I'm the same way. I get you. William said, "Did you see the comments when top people in the sport were calling Wilder the hardest puncher in boxing? The haters went nuts." I did, man. I heard a lot of people, even Max Kellerman, I believe, who can be sometime wishy-washy. He even said that Deontay Wilder was the hardest puncher. But then the man have a bad night, and they say he don't have no punching power. All he had was a lucky punch. That's the biggest crock of BS I ever heard. The man have a bad night, and you just negate and put away every other freaking fighter he's been in there with. I mean, I'm talking about some fighters who was giving him some work. People want to always bring up Arthur Spilker, right? I guess that short, crisp right hook was damn lucky. You know what I'm saying? I guess that was lucky. I guess a lot of other his fights that he had previously was lucky fights. How can you stop all your freaking opponents with fragmented boxing skills. How can a right hand get you all the way up to 42 victories and 41 knockouts? How? If they're saying you're one of the least technical skill boxers in the sport, why isn't somebody else with boxing skills taking advantage of that and coming there and knock Deontay Wilder out? It's that simple. Go in there and knock him out. That's all you have to do. DBM say William O is so odd that all Americans, I wouldn't say all Americans, but Americans go against their own while every other country stand behind anyone representing them. Makes no sense. Check the box on that. Especially in boxing, man. You go to a freaking foreign country in football. I'm not talking about the football where we're hiking it. We're talking about soccer. You go over there and you think you're going to get a country, look, that has other players on the team, but since that player is playing on their team, they're still cheering for their freaking team, their home team, for their country. They're not going to not cheer for their team just because they have a Nigerian player on there, whatever the case. But over here in the U.S., you just say Filipino fans. Some Filipino fans are some of the most loyal boxing fans, man. They will basically, if they have a Filipino fighter, especially Manny Pacquiao, right? If he's fighting, they will cook at least about 15 dishes, have people over to watch the freaking fight. They will pay for the fight. They will support their fighter, man. Seriously. And it's no doubt on who they're going for. They're going for Manny Pacquiao. They are going for Manny Pacquiao. Then you turn around, you go to the U.S., and you have so many fighters from other countries, even Mexican fighters, and people sitting up here, they will boo the American fighter and cheer for the Mexican fighter because we have so much boxing. The nesting pool here in boxing is so huge that people have so much to choose from. What you say, BMA? Exactly, bro. Ask Scott, that went crazy about how Wilder was treated by his own people at the weigh-ins. It's sickening that we don't have patriotism for our own fighters. We don't have patriotism, and then you have to insert racism in there too. And people want to say, okay, it's racism. We're just being goofy. Racism is never going to be goofy, especially for those who don't experience it. So when you take racism, believe it or not, racism is still a part of boxing. I don't give a damn what you think. Racism is still a part of boxing. But now we have platforms that we can talk. You have individuals, and this is so true. You have individuals, and of course, I'm gonna use Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. Even though Anthony Joshua is the shade, right? But his canopy, his nation, the colors for which he represents is over there across the pond in the UK, right? They would still treat Deontay Wilder as if Anthony Joshua was white. They would treat Deontay Wilder that because he's from the South, he's American. But they would sit up here and cheer Anthony Joshua and give him all the kudos in the world because of his accent and what country he represents. I've seen it. They would just sit up here and vilify that man just because of who he is and how he looks. But for Anthony Joshua, he can come in here and say he want to knock Deontay out in front of his family. Don't nobody say a word. And I say, cool. You can come in here and question me saying that it was on ESPN. So if he can get on ESPN and say, I want to face Deontay Wilder. I want his family to come to the fight so I can knock him spark out in front of his family. Then nobody say anything about that. But Deontay say Bronze Bomber want to catch a body, then it's a problem. Joshua talk a lot of shit, but once again, they have a pass because of U.S. fans. Some of them are so gullible, and they're able to give them passes because they're enamored with them. A lot of these people just want to go over to the UK and blend in. Hey, let's go to the local pub, hey? You know what I mean? Let's go to the local pub. What time you want to go? I love it here. Such a grand time. I'm thinking about picking up and moving out here. Just have to talk to the wife when I get back. DBMN say when it comes to old media, the reason why they turn on Wilder is because he lost and they were embarrassed. Hey, old media, they're supposed to know better. They have the experience. They have the resources. And the one thing about old media, you have a lot of people that's following a guideline. They can't always tell the public what they truly feel. If it's a good and bad guy, like you remember Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Skip Bayless is always going to stick to the part. Both of them has years in the game of journalism, right? So Skip Bayless is going to stand whatever he's saying against what Stephen A is saying. I'm glad they finally, split them in half and sent Stephen A on his way and brung in Shannon Sharp, because it got so obvious with Stephen A and what he was going to say. It was so obvious that Skip Bayless was going to disagree with it and say something crazy. So old media is almost like they can't really say what's on their mind, but some of the time they might put it out there, but it's not. It's going to be by the protocol. It's going to be like producer notes. It's not going to be genuinely what they feel inside. Like Stephen A. Smith said, I support Wilder. Of course I do. But I remember, because, I'm always out here doing research. I remember when Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua both showed up on ESPN. And I remember wholeheartedly when Stephen A. Smith was just gloating over Anthony Joshua and said, it's good to have the best heavyweight in boxing on the show. He considered Anthony Joshua the best heavyweight. He did not come nowhere close to giving Deontay Wilder that glory, that love. Look it up. I don't have to look that shit up. He was just freaking boosting Anthony Joshua up to nowhere, man. Spilker was never the same after Wilder stopped him. Hey, he almost caught a body, man. Believe it or not, it's just words. And they sit up here and say this man a bum. But yet, he hit Spilker off the back foot. And Spilker had been connecting on Wilder. He had been landing effective shots. But Deontay Wilder hit him with that right hook, that short, quick, crisp right hook off the back foot. Do you know you got to have some power to hit a fighter and lay him out the way Deontay did Spilker? And then people going to get on here and say the man is just a bomb. It doesn't surprise me, though. They've been waiting for this moment for him to lose against Tyson Fury. They've been waiting. They really wanted Anthony Joshua to get the belt, but Anthony Joshua was too scared to commit. Him and Eddie Hearns would never commit to facing Deontay Wilder. That's why they had Dillian White out here tap dancing, trying to insert his name into the fray to face Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder would have knocked Dillian White clean out, man, because his style is tailor-made for Wilder. Dillian White is not going to box like Tyson Fury boxed. Dillian White is going to box more so, come forward and subject himself to high risk, low reward. He even said it himself. He's going to go in and give it what he can, and if he get chin, so be it. So Dillian White is looking to go into the furnace and get burnt. He's looking for it. Time the bell ring, he want to go in there and throw haymakers. And if Deontay Wilder catch him and he land on his face, he can say, you know what? At the end of the day, I gave it everything I had. Everything I had. I went in there, and I know Deontay was basically a hard hitter, but I had to go over there. I had to give it everything I had. And it just didn't work out for me. Massive risk. Don Dallas say Manny Pacquiao fight parties are the best, man. My neighbors used to be Filipino. Jesus. You know what? I had to force myself. I couldn't go over there every time they was having to get together. I couldn't. It's just too much to eat. You put on like 3,000 calories going over to a Filipino fight party. Seriously. McGreg64 said he really hit that guy. I rewatched it so many times. It landed. Even I felt it. Yeah, man, for a man to knock out Spilker the way he did, you got to have some boxing IQ. You have to have boxing IQ. You have to have a skill set to be able to knock somebody out like he did off the back foot. Of course, a lot of people say Deontay can't box off the back foot. And, you know, he does have a tendency to stay in center. If a fighter is pressuring him, he would go straight back. And if you look at the fight, Tyson Fury took advantage of that on the first knockdown. The first knockdown, Deontay Wilder was going straight back to the ropes. Greg's 1964 said, after Pacquiao lost to Marquez, the Filipino fans all over the world still was behind the Pac-Man. I mean, that's the love they have for their fighter, man. I was in the Philippines. You know, at one point in time, I was speaking pretty decent Tagalog, you know. Seriously. And I dated my share of Filipino women. I ain't gonna lie. After Pacquiao lost to Marquez, DBMA said facts. Wilder started boxing in October 2005 when he entered Sky Boxing Gym in Northport, Alabama, and began training on the JDs. Wilder was 20 at that time. And Wilder's first professional fight was 2008, man. That's real talk. A good point there, DBMA. You know, his professional fight was 2008, y'all. By 2007, he upset the favorites to win both the National Gold Gloves and the U.S. champion at 201. And look, DBMA, and the only thing people were showing when leading up to his fight with Tyson Fury, what? His bout with Romanov, right? Romanov was the fighter that was dropping him in the freaking AMs, you know, the Olympics and all that, right? I think Romanov is like 14-0 right now, but he hasn't even came close to getting back in the ring with Wilder. And here's another fun fact. Like I said, hashtag. Like you see my hands, I'm not on the keyboard or nothing. Here's another fun fact that they mentioned when Deontay Wilder was stopped that you all may have not seen. It was a rumor mill, like people would talk about it, but it wasn't really evidence out there that was clear for anyone to look up on social media or any search engines, right? You can put inquiries in there, and it was hard for you to find it. But there was footage out there, a picture of Deontay Wilder being dropped. You see him sitting down, and you see a black fighter kind of going to the neutral corner. And people's like debunking it, but some was saying it's true, debunking it. So somehow, some way, maintenance was done out here on social media that is not much footage or video footage out there to basically suggest how it all went down. Not only until he lost in Vegas, they put it up on the screen. This is only the second time in Deontay Wilder's professional career that he's been down. And then they put out there Harris Skroner. They put his name up there. That's the only time you really seen that since Deontay Wilder's been boxing. No mention of it, secret squirrel, concealed, whatever. That's the first time they put that shit up on the screen, man. When he was stopped, they say, now's a good time. Let's freaking put some more pins in the damn cushion and bleed him out. This is the second time Deontay Wilder has been down since his fight with Harry. That's the first time they mentioned that dude and gave him some props for dropping Deontay Wilder. But also Deontay Wilder was dropped in the Olympics. He was dropped in the amateurs, man. What's to say about it? How many times has Joshua been on the ground, man? Come on, man. Has Tyson Fury ever been knocked down? How many times has Klitschko been on the ground, man? Check this out. How many times was Klitschko on the ground before he went to Emmanuel Stewart? Somebody tell me that. Is it single or double digits? Because I don't know shit about boxing. He qualified for the Olympics by beating Davis Julio 6'5", Jorge Quinones, and Ecuador on double countback, and Brazilian Rafael Lima at the qualifiers. Even though he qualified, okay. If somehow you putting double the comments up here, man. DBMA, you putting double the comments up. Wilder then competed at the heavyweight in 08 Olympics, defeating Abdelaziz of Algeria, Mohamed Ajoui of Morocco, before losing to Clemente Russo of Italy in the semifinals to earn a bronze medal. And Wilder had an approximate amateur career of 30-5. We all know the briefness of Wilder's career, right? That's fact. He didn't have an extensive amateur career. And solid point that DBMA. Thanks for dropping them source drops on here. Real talk. But since we on the Olympics, right? Listen, since we on the Olympics, this is another thing that got me kicked out of groups, right? You have people up here saying, Anthony Joshua, he was Olympian gold medalist. And I'm saying to myself, true, you're right. Anthony Joshua was an Olympic gold medal. You're right. Absolutely. So you have other people chiming in. Yep. Deontay Wilder, he was a bronze medalist. So right there, Anthony Joshua has a lead. I say, so do me a favor. Pull up the fight of Anthony Joshua's gold medal round. But hold up. First of all, where was that specific Olympic Games? The London Olympics, right? So take that fight in the London Olympics and tell me who won the gold medal round. We're talking about a previous gold medal champion. Look at that fight with Anthony Joshua in that gold medal fight and tell me, did he win? Everyone who's tuned in, man, like I said before, pass the word to subscribe to the channel. I mean, I've been covering boxing for quite some time, man. I don't get into with a lot of people about boxing. And you don't have to believe everything I say, but some of this stuff might be true. Some of this shit might be true. Look at Anthony Joshua's freaking gold medal round and tell me if you believe he should be wearing a medal around his neck. It's not just like I said this before, right? And I had some black fighters try to come at me saying that I was hating on Joshua. And I was like, why would I hate on Joshua? Even though I'm critical of his robotic boxing style, I know not of the man. I don't have no reason to hate on Joshua. I just believe his tactics and him not wanting to fight certain fighters as Deontay Wilder to unify the titles. It's just something I wouldn't do as a man myself if I was in that position. I just think I have more heart than that. If I was in that position, I would have to test myself and go unify the titles. I would have to, because it would bother me inside to think I had a little bit of cowardness in me not to go over here and face the other best fighter. I don't care where they were. So therefore, I was trying to explain to them that Anthony Joshua lost that gold medal round match. For those of you that believe you boxing fans, all you have to do is watch the fight and you tell me if he should have won that gold medal round. You tell me, man. If you really follow the sport of boxing, you tell me, should Anthony Joshua be glorified as a gold medalist just because he hold a medal? It was the London Games, for Christ's sake. And they gave Anthony Joshua. Is he the first one to get a gift? No, just look back at Roy Jones. Come on, man. Don't let me start going down the list of how many people have been robbed at the Olympics. Women say, yeah, people just don't remember the years before Wilder, the Vladimir years. We had no one, man. That's true words, man. We had no one to sit up here and contend against them brothers. And they was able to do what they needed to do during that time, man, for almost a decade. I remember in that Great Depression of boxing, you know, when my dad was still living, right? And I was asking him, I was like, where are all the boxers at? I said, they must be playing football. Seriously. And most of the guys that could have been boxers back then were playing football. You know, the more popular sport, they was in other sports other than boxing. Because it took a time for boxers to make that money. But, you know, in football, you get much more glorification as an athlete if you're in football or basketball or baseball. But for boxing, I said, I know we got some U.S. boxers out here. I know we have some individuals that's in the heavyweight division that can go ahead and fight. But no, you know, the Klitschko brothers did what they had to do. Vladimir, Vitali, they did what they had to do, man. And you know what? They're glorified to this day without anybody freaking wanting to say anything wrong. You have to look at the way they fought. And you have to look at their record. You know, they have some, okay, periodically some sprinkles on there for some fighters. But when you talk about their skill set and how they box, you have to look at the competition that was available for them during that Great Depression of boxing. But they will. Vitali is already, I think, if he's not in the Hall of Fame already, I know he's retired, but Vitali and then Vladimir will be right behind him going to the Hall of Fame, easy. But it's just amazing how people come up here and bring Anthony Joshua's name up, right? And they want to talk about Vladimir, who was on a year and a half hiatus, special handpicked by Eddie Hearns and them to come sell out Wembley with Joshua. It was just amazing, man. Like, this man has been out the sport. He comes in there and almost knock your ass out. And people sitting up there like, he beat Vladimir. Like, come on, Vladimir wasn't even active at the time. Who had Vladimir belts? Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury left the sport. Now it comes around, Anthony Joshua has the compass out, and they're basically maneuvering on a specific plan on how to pick up the belts. And they began to do it. From that WBA to the one Charles Martin had, the IBF, to the WBO of Joseph Parker, they all had it planned out, man. Why they couldn't get that WBC? Where was that at? Somebody tell me why they haven't came and picked up that WBC yet when Wilder had it. Why they couldn't get it back then? Who had that WBC belt? That's all I'm saying, man. We didn't say we had no one. But that's all I had to say about that. I can go on and on, man. I can go on and on about this. But I appreciate y'all for stopping through. Y'all be sure to check out Shakur Stevenson. He's fighting Miguel Marriaga, 29-3. You know, Shakur Stevenson's 13-0, 7 knockouts. Marriaga has 25 knockouts. It's going to be a good fight. Marriaga is on a 4-fight knockout streak. Definitely this fight is going to be a good one. Shakur Stevens is the future of boxing, man. I just can't wait till he move up. I mean, I hope he don't take that long to move up, but I hope he move up when all those future opponents is still in reach. You know what I'm saying? And you know who I'm talking about. I hope all those guys are still within reach when Shakur Stevens is set to move up. I mean, if boxing allow it, it has some very dynamic bouts that's waiting. It might be 2 or 3 years, but man, I'm telling you, it's so many fights that's out there. So I hope Shakur Stevenson doesn't wait to move up. Another fighter I hope that doesn't take that long to move up is Gary Russell. Gary Russell said it was nobody at 130 for him, so he's gonna plan on moving up to 135. I really hope Gary Russell moves up to 135, man. so we can see him get in there. Gary Russell is a problem. Seeing him fight, how technical he is, man, is on other levels of boxing. His brother Antonio, salute to him. Shout out to the Russell clan, man. I call them the first family of boxing, but shout out to them cats. They're on a whole nother level when it comes to freaking boxing, man. And listen, they're all in different weight classes, man. You know how you get some families that the older brother in the heavier weight class? That's not the case here. That's not the case. William said Vladimir didn't even have a warm-up fight before fighting AJ. Absolutely. But listen, they want to goddamn kick me out of groups because I'm sitting up here somewhat, highlighting all the factors that went into Anthony Joshua fighting Vladimir. How long he was out the sport. Them specifically picking him and having the fight at Wembley Stadium to sell it out and get mass revenue from Joshua and Vladimir. There's no way that Vladimir was winning that fight. Vladimir wasn't going to win that fight that night. He knew what the orders was. It's just the fact that once he started on the mission, he found out that he still had enough ammo in the goddamn barrel to knock Joshua's ass clean out. And he could have indeed, if he really stayed the course, he could have outboxed Joshua. But he followed the orders because he wasn't trying to reign as champion. Vladimir wasn't trying to reign as champion. He was just there to be a dance partner with Anthony Joshua, and he exposed him. I mean, how many times has Anthony Joshua been on the ground, for Christ's sake? Before people sit up here and say his chin is fragile. You know what they're saying now? He's 2-division champion. Like I said before, go back to the social media threads, and those same people that's jumping on the parade now that Joshua won his belts back in Saudi Arabia, where were they when he lost his belt to Andy Ruiz? Look, them folks came Sumerians real quick. Like, they were so distraught, they went and found local caves to live in until Anthony Joshua made it back to the ring, because they had talked so much shit. And when Anthony Joshua freaking lost, they had to go run into seclusion. They couldn't stand being, it was almost like I Am Legend. These people was hanging out in the dark. And I was like Will Smith out there. Hey, where everybody at? You know what I'm saying? It was exactly like that. And young groups know who exactly they are, man. The admins know, them punk ass admins. They know who they are. The ones that kick you out the group because you was up there advocating for the champ, and they up here saying foul ass shit that doesn't have anything to do with boxing. But yet, when you talk about what was just mentioned about Vladimir not being active, no tune-up fight, how easy he was making Joshua look. When he lost to Andy Ruiz, a last-minute replacement, I'm telling you, I was Will Smith and I Am Legend. I was walking around. I don't have to worry about my dog running into the freaking darkness. I already know who in there. If she running there, it's on her. I was like, nah, I ain't going in there with them haters. There's too many haters in there. I would have definitely stood out about 5 to 10 feet. And you know, hey, any Joshua fans in there? Come on and talk. Just come on and talk so we can talk it out. We can come, let's just chat for a minute. Let's talk about this rematch. And then now, if you talk about the rematch and blatantly on how Andy Ruiz did not look as competitive as he did the initial one, as true, pure boxing fans, you should hold Andy Ruiz accountable for looking bad and making Anthony Joshua look good. And you should also hold Anthony Joshua accountable for not having to do what Tyson Fury had to do. It's not like Anthony Joshua came in there and he looked extensively better. He came in there and ran. He had on his running shoes just like Israel Adesanya did against Joel Romero. He had on freaking running shoes, y'all. But I can't get mad. Listen, I keep it. I can't really be mad at Anthony Joshua for doing what he did to get the belts. Because when at the end of the day, it's boxing. If you have to use ring generalship, he ain't the first one to do that. It's been plenty of other fighters to use ring generalship. I ain't mad at the man. That's what the game plan he needed to do. And it worked out for him. But you had people coming over to Saudi Arabia to see you regain your titles, and you run around on the outside and just pop a jab out there to a turtle? To a freaking turtle? An overweight turtle with a Snicker bar hanging out his mouth? I mean, come on, man. We wanted to see you go in there and really take advantage of freaking Andy Ruiz. Kind of show us your boxing skills. But Joshua knows damn well that he's not that inside fighter, and his chin can't hold up. Joshua got one of the weakest chins in the heavyweight division. Shit, I call on Robert Helenius to go over there and fight Joshua. After what I seen with him fighting freaking Andy Konoski, I call up Robert Helenius, goddammit. I'd like to see Robert Helenius fight before I see another Anthony Joshua fight. That's real talk. Williams say Vladimir didn't even have a warm-up fight. I wish Russell will fight more than once a year. Hey, McGregor, he said he was gonna do it, man. After his last fight, he said that he was gonna fight more than once a year. That's exactly what he said, man. So I really don't know what's next for Gary Russell. He's a very exciting fighter, man. He's the truth. And looking at him, if you're a true boxing fan, you can learn a lot about how he go about doing business. Like I've seen Gary Russell fight on TV, and I've seen him fight in person. I've seen all his brothers. I've seen all of them fight in person. And them dudes are woke on different levels when it comes to the sport of boxing and in life. I'm gonna keep it 100. It's tough for a man to raise sons like that and then have them all named Gary, you know, just like George Foreman and stuff like that. I mean, that's tough to have that passed down and your sons respect you in that light. Like you talk to them brothers, they some woke individuals. That's all I'm gonna say. They some woke individuals. And shout out to freaking, you know, Jackal Fitness AWD over there. Salute to them. I know that's their fam, man. They cover the Russell brothers all day long, man. Shout out to Jackal Fitness AWD. Them boys be doing it. They just left the fight card this weekend. But man, I hear you, M. Greg. You know what I'm saying? I wish Russell would fight more than once a year too. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. Real talk. I was really waiting for that other dude to come back by. You know, they're saying, you know, the glove gate has been debunked, but I'm really not trying to talk about that. I really talk about boxing history, really. Y'all do me a favor, you know. Look at Muhammad Ali, something that's fact. A lot of people ain't gonna talk about because Muhammad Ali. But I'll tell you, and it makes all the sense in the world, right? Check this out. Look at Muhammad Ali fight with Leon Spinks. So I always put it out there, and believe me, I'm talking to intelligent human beings, right? I'm not gonna just put everything out there to make it easy, but tell me what you see with Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks, the 2 times they fought. And then if you look at the 2 times they fought, look after that. And just somebody drop some comments on the process for what you think. I'm telling you what I know from somebody who's back. But look at Leon Spink. You know, tell me what you think about that, those 2 fights, that pair of fights they had, and what do you see after that, without me going so much into detail about it. Tell me, you know, 3 specific things that you see about Muhammad Ali fight with Leon Spinks. And this is what I'm saying, you know, how deep boxing goes for individuals who choose to freaking dig that deep. It's called mining. I treat boxing like it's mining. You got to go find the diamonds, right? That's how I treat boxing, man. You got to go find the diamonds, man. Somebody tell me about that. Come on, man. Y'all know boxing. Come on, man. World Combat Sports. I just want to hear what you think. Tell me 3 things about that particular fight. Nothing else about his record. Because I did this before when it comes to Muhammad Ali, because people are so quick to just say, oh, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. Tell me 3 things that stand out to you about the Leon Spinks fight. Just by looking at his record. Come on, people. Y'all have, y'all have the search engine in front of you and everything. I always, it's 100%. I know y'all know, man. I know. I got faith in y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you, it's some people may believe it, some won't. But hey, I'm telling you what I know for a fact from people who was back there researching everything else. Because you talk about how boxing is right now with Deontay Wilder, right? And Tyson Fury, and the way some of those matches have happened over time. Like you look at Castillo fight with Mayweather. I mean, you can talk about many fights. Erislandy Lara and Canelo. What do you see about the Muhammad Ali fight? I got about 2 minutes. And I'm just going to talk about it the next time I'm on here, because there's no way I'm going to put it out there if no one is going to really respond to it. Just tell me from that Leon Spinks fight, what stands out to you? Just 3 nuggets that stand out to you about those 2 fights. If you know boxing just a little bit deeper, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit when the water starts to get dark, when you're going into the, what they call it, thralosophobia, the people who scared of the dark of the ocean and everything. When the water starts to get a little bit dark and there's no bottom, come on. Has anybody found out yet about the Muhammad Ali Leon fight, Leon Spinks fight? What's something that stand out to you? I mean, this, when I talk to the OGs, right? This is how I get educated too, because they be asking me shit. Either I know or I'm going to find out. Give me one then. What stands out to you about those 2 fights? Let me ask you this. Give me the year. What year was it? Man, y'all ain't dropping no hints. Y'all must be getting ready for work. I hear you, man. It's Monday too. Y'all must be getting ready for work. I hear you. I'm gonna save it for another day. I'm gonna save it for when it's a little bit more participation. But guess what? Appreciate y'all for stopping through though. I'm about to bounce. Let me see. William said Ali should have never been in there. His reaction time was terrible. His movement non-existent. Ali made Leon look like superior fighter, and he wasn't. So, William, solid point, man. Okay. So, you kind of touched on it just a little bit. So, you said Ali never should have been in there, right? So, check this out, William. Check this out. I missed most of what you were saying. I went to the, okay. So, basically what I was asking is about 3 parts of Muhammad Ali dealing with Leon Spinks that no one truly knows. And if you told them, they would be like, nah. But check this out. What you just said, you said Ali should have never been in there. His reaction time was terrible. Now, this is going to blow y'all mind, right? This is what I was talking about earlier about certain media that be up here for views and shit. That's not me, man. I ain't using no keyboard. But check this out. Ali was in there like 78, right? So just what Williams said about him and his reaction being off, right? That's key points to Ali. You know, because Ali, look at this shit. Ali was on the back end of his career when he fought Leon Spinks. It's going to blow your mind, man. William, what was Leon's record? What was Leon's record in the rematch? What was Leon Spinks' record in the rematch? Just look on BoxRec right quick and tell me Leon Spinks' record in the rematch. The rematch is what he lost. The rematch is what Muhammad Ali was able to basically get his title back. Anybody? I'll talk about it another day then. But you made a solid point there, William. Hey, peace out, man. Thanks for dropping through. I'll save it to the next time around. But that was a little bit of it. I was about to drop some other or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I was about to get deep in some stuff that would have tossed y'all. I was like, what? Would put you on your back a little, like, God damn. Black Jesus, what's good? He said return the belt, Tyson Fury. No, he can keep it. You know, now that the Texas came back and everything, keep it. I truly want to see Deontay go in there and get his belt back the way a real fighter is supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? A real heavyweight champion. If you lose, you get back up. The exact same thing he said in the last training camp I was at. I got the video. I got the footage. I haven't even put it up yet. You know, he said a lot of people want to see you fall and they want to see how you act when you're down and how you go about getting back up. I mean, that's what he said. I haven't even really posted that interview at all. But that's what the champ said. But people, I'm out. And be sure to follow World Combat Sports on all social media as always. You know, hit the bell icon, man. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the input as always. The channel is growing. I need for you all to pass the word about, you know, subscribing to YouTube and IG. You know, follow me on Facebook, man. You know, ask to join the group on Facebook and interact with the posts that's on there. And also, you know, I cover mixed martial arts also. Oh, okay. I got you, William. It's all good, bro. We'll talk about it another day. You know, when people ain't getting ready to go to work and everything, I feel you. But it's going to be something that may or may not, you know, pique your interest. You be like, God damn, it might be some validity to this. I'm telling you, it is. It's going to blow your mind, though. It's going to blow your mind about that particular matchup right there, Leon Spinks. I was waiting on somebody to tell me the record of Leon Spinks. What was the record of Leon Spinks when he defeated Muhammad Ali? And William made a good point. He said Ali never should have been in there. And that's a fact, right? Because we saw him stepping there with Larry Holmes, right? So he never should have been in there really with Leon Spinks, because the fight with Leon Spinks wasn't too far off from when he faced Larry Holmes. You remember the fight where it prompted Mike Tyson, you know, Muhammad Ali to tell Mike Tyson, say, okay, get him back for me or whatever he said, kick his ass. Yeah, man. So I'm just trying to find out, like, what was Leon Spinks' record? It's on BoxRec, y'all. If not tonight, we'll talk about it another day. It's all good. I just wanted to kick some boxing knowledge to y'all, man, and see what y'all thought about that. But once again, man, y'all be sure to tune in next time for World Combat Sports. It's been a pleasure. Be sure to turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.